Hello everyone, you're welcome to this lesson. In this video, you're going to learn how to solve indefinite integrals using the substitution rule. Okay, so I'm going to use this example to explain the steps to you. Alright, so you have to find the integral of what this function that we have here. Okay, so let's look at how you're going to do this. So we are going to use the substitution method. Okay, so I'm going to say that let u be equal to this expression here inside the cosine function. Okay, so that would be u equals x minus the natural log of what x. Okay, and then what I'll do next is that I will differentiate this function with respect to x. So we are going to have du dx, and then that will be equal to 1 minus 1 over x. Okay, if you differentiate this, you are going to get 1 over x. Okay, so this is what we have now. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to make the x the subject. Okay, so if I do this, you are going to have the x to be equal to du, okay, divided by 1 minus what? 1 over x. Okay, this is what you are going to have. Okay, so now let's go back to the main expression and then do the substitution. Okay, so we now know what our u is equal to. So let's see what you are going to do. So now you're going to have the integral of what? 1 minus what? X. Okay, cosine of what? We have cosine of x minus what? Ln x, but you know that is equal to u, so you can put our u here. So cosine of u, and then our dx, okay, is now equal to what? Du over what? 1 minus what? 1 on x. So you are going to bring that here, du over 1 minus what? 1 on what? X. Okay, this is what you are going to have. Okay, so now let's continue. So from here we can see that this will cancel out this. Okay, and then at the end you're going to have the integral of what? The cosine of u with respect to what? U. Okay, so you will see that all we did was to change, okay, we changed the variable, okay, from x to what? U. Okay, and then one thing you have to know is that when you are doing the substitution, okay, you have to make sure that all the variables, okay, all the x variables are out of what? The expression. Okay, if you do the substitution and then after the substitution you still have x variables in it, then that means that you chose the wrong substitution. So you have to try a different expression, as in assuming when we used this as our u. Okay, after doing the computation we still had an x as at this point. Okay, let's say we still had an x here, then that will tell us that what? The expression we used for the substitution is wrong, so you have to try a different expression. Okay, so that's how you know. So when you use an expression for the substitution and then at the end you still have an x, okay, inside the final expression, then that should give you a hint that you used the wrong substitution. Okay, so let's take note of that. Okay, so at the end this is what we have. So let's integrate this. You know that the integral of what? Cosine of u with respect to u will give us what? Sine u, okay, plus c, right? Okay, but the question was given to us in terms of what? X. Okay, so our final answer must also be in terms of what? X, not u, not what? U. Okay, but you know that u is equal to what? X minus what? The natural log of what? X. So let's bring it back here. We're going to have our final answer to be sine x minus what? The natural log of x, okay, plus c. Okay, so this will be our final answer. Okay, so it is very, very simple and easy to deal with. Okay, let's take the next example. Okay guys, so I have the second example here. Let's look at how you are going to go about this example also. So for this example too, I'm going to say that let our u be equal to the 4y squared minus what? Y. Okay, I'm using this as my substitution. Okay, let's take note of that. Okay, so let's see what you are going to do next. So now let's differentiate this with respect to y. We are going to have du dy, okay, then that will give us what? 8y minus what? 1. Okay, this is what you are going to have. Okay, so at this point let's make dy the subject. Okay, so if you do this, we're going to have du over what? 8y minus 1. That should be equal to what? Dy, right? you can write it as dy equals du over 8y minus what 1. Okay, all right, so now let's go back to the main expression. So now we're going to have the integral of 3, okay, multiplying 8y minus 1, okay, multiplying e to the power u, and then now our dy is now what du over 8y minus what 1. Okay, this is what we have. So you can see now that we can do some cancellation here, right? So this will cancel out this. Okay, so at the end you're going to have the integral of 3 multiplying e to the power u du, right? So we can write this as 3 multiplying the integral of what e to the power u du. So if we integrate this, we are going to have 3 multiplying e to the power u, okay, plus what c, okay, plus c. But the final answer must be in terms of what x, same as the question. So we have to bring our substitutes back. Okay, so if you do this, you're going to have 3 multiplying e to the power u, which is 4y squared minus y, okay, and then plus the c, which is the constant of what integration. So that's how to go about this example also. So let's take the next example. Okay guys, so I have the third example here. Let's look at how we will go about it. So for these two, I'm going to consider the u to be equal to 3 minus 10x cubed. Okay, let this be our u. Okay, so now let's differentiate this and see what we are going to get. So the u dx, okay, will be equal to the derivative of a constant will be 0, right, minus 30x squared. Okay, this is what you are going to have. Alright, so now let's make the x the subject. In doing this, you're going to have the u divided by minus 30x squared. Okay, will be equal to what? The x. Okay, this is the same as the x equals what? Minus the u on what? 30. Okay, this is what we have. Okay, so now let's do the substitution. So now we have the integral of what? Sorry, I omitted the x squared. Okay, minus du over 30x squared. So now we have the integral of what? X squared. Okay, multiplying what? U to the power 4, and then now our dx, okay, our dx is now what? Minus du on what? 30x squared. Okay, this is what we have. All right, so let's do the cancellation. So now this x squared will cancel out this x squared, right? And then at the end you're going to have minus the integral of what? U to the power 4, okay, over 30 du. Okay, we can even write it as, okay, you can even rewrite it as the integral of what? Minus 1 on 30 u to the power 4 du. Okay, you can write it as this. Okay, so now let's continue. Okay, so this will be equal to minus 1 on 30. That's if you factor out the constant. Okay, multiplying the integral of what? The integral of what? U to the power 4 du. Okay, so this will be equal to minus 1 on 30, okay, times u to the power 5 divided by what? 5, okay, plus what? C. Okay, so at the end you're going to have minus u to the power 5 divided by what? 100 and what? 50, okay, plus what? C. So now let's bring in our substitution. Okay, so you're going to have minus 3 minus 10 x cubed, okay, x cubed to the power 5 divided by what? 150 plus what? C. Okay, so this will be our answer for this example also. Okay guys, so I have the last example here. Let's look at how you are going to go about it. So for this, what I'll do is that I will write the expression. Okay, so I'm going to have the integral of x, okay, multiplying 1 minus 4 x squared to the power what? Minus half, okay, with respect to what? X. And then I'm going to let my u be equal to 1 minus 4x squared. Okay, so now let's differentiate this with respect to x. You're going to have du dx, okay, that will be equal to minus 8x, because the derivative of 1 will give us 0 because it is a constant. So at this point, let's make the x the subject. Okay, so we're going to have the x to be equal to minus the u on what? 8x. Okay, this is what you're going to have. So let's go back to the main expression and then do the substitution. So you're going to have the integral of x, okay, multiplying u to the power minus half, okay, and then now the x is now what? Minus the u on what? 8x, okay. All right, so now this x will cancel out this x, and then at the end we are going to have the integral of what? Minus 1 on 8, okay, u to the power minus half du. So we can factor out the constant. You are going to have minus 1 on 8 multiplying the integral of what? U to the power minus half, okay, du. So let's simplify this and see. We're going to have minus 1 on 8, okay, multiplying u to the power minus 1 on 2 plus 1, okay, divided by what? Minus 1 on 2 plus 1, okay, plus the constant of what? Integration c. Okay, so at the end you're going to have minus 1 on 8, okay, multiplying, okay, u to the power half, and then divide by what? Half. But instead of it dividing by half, let's multiply by 2. Okay, so you just have to find the reciprocal of what? The exponent, and then multiply it by the whole term. Okay, so at the end you are going to have our answer to be minus 1 on 4, okay, u to the power half plus what? C. Okay, but don't forget our answer must be in terms of what? The x, because that was the variable that the question was given in terms of. Okay, so at the end our answer will be equal to minus 1 on 4, okay, and then our u is now 1 minus what? 4x squared, okay, to the power half plus what? The constant of what? Integration. So this will be our answer. Okay, so this is how to go about these types of what? Questions.